the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzlytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. I'm Jack Bourgeois. That is Ashton Moore. Which, you know. Anyways, got a nice little cast on the hand. I'm powering through.
Yeah.
It has been one of those weeks, brother. Like, let me tell you. I had some 90-year-old man hit my car yesterday, and then, he, broke down crying, and I, didn't have insurance. I was just, broke the hand, car got hit, made an ass out of myself. I had an adult-sized temper tantrum this week, mini temper tantrum, and I'm going through it. But you know what? I'm here. It's football season. I'm smiling. It's going to be all right.
Just let me know whenever you're ready to make the Adventures of Mississippi Jack into a real thing, because I think we got some gold on our hands, brothers. We just be like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, but for Mississippi civilians just getting into. I'm sorry, an old man hit your car. Hopefully that's just a cherry on top and not just another layer.
Let's hope.
Gotta stop for you at some point,
I'm gonna call that the cherry on the top and not another layer to the cake, because that cake's gonna get big, bro. But man, it's I think in weeks like this you kind of have to sit back and just accept it. This is life a little bit. Shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I got my health mostly.
Right.
You got your health. My family's okay. We're all good. The Bucks are winning, baby. Your Chiefs seem to be getting their stuff back together. A little bit.
Get their mojo back.
It was against the Washington football team, and we did have a little week and a half hiatus, so we haven't got to dive into the I told you so's or the goddamn it I told you that was going to be a problem. But it seems like they fixed the problem already, because now you just said it, Juan Thornhill, 100% of the snaps. Sit down, white boy. Dan Sorensen, you are a liability. Get the hell off the field. Come in on certain situations, but he's a role player, and he's not a starting caliber safety. I'm sure I just took all the words right out of your mouth.
No, well done. It means you've been listening. I love to hear it. I would definitely say he's. Hopefully it sticks. I don't know. I have quit giving up. I've given up trying to predict how the coaching staff is going to run this team, because this whole time I thought they would have handled Clyde different than they did. I thought they would have handled the safety position different than they did. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would have thought Josh Gordon would have been a little bit more implemented now, but let's take the time on that. Just enjoy the ride. That's what it's like being a Chiefs fan, is that it's always going to be weird, but we have Patrick Mahomes, which typically makes things a little bit easier on everybody. It was a good bounce back game. Yes, it was against a lesser team in the football team. But it's nice. It's nice to have a game against a sub 500 team. I think the only other one we had with that was the Eagles. Now we're on to Tennessee and to see what Derrick Henry, what he has up his sleeve. But
are you nervous?
I used to be. I used to be really scared of the Titans. They used to be the team we couldn't get out of our. They were a menace, to say the least. But recently, I'm not too worried about them. Yeah. I think that especially with A.J. Brown with the bubble guts, I don't think he'll be able to play. Hey, I had a round this morning as well, brother. Hey, thoughts and prayers out to you, homie. That's some rough shit. Literally. But I'm not too concerned. I'm not too concerned.
Gotta love it.
Pun intentional. I'm not too scared about the Titans personally. I think it'll be fun. It's always fun to watch these type of games. But on to the next.
I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but man, as soon as Derrick Henry touches the ball, anything could happen. I mean, we've seen that. He's literally taking his body count this year is maybe better than any year past. Futa,
It's amazing. And then I saw that he's ran this last week, whenever he broke off his long run, he reached 21.8 miles per hour, which is his career high. How is he getting faster? How is this possible? How is he peaking? How is he ascending at this point?
Because he had those 2 or 3 years, the beginning of his career, where they weren't feeding him. He's kind of, believe it or not, the man's still kind of fresh. He's not he's too. It's crazy because I think he's the only athlete that is that big and that freakish athletic and doesn't get hurt. Like the Jadeveon Clowney types. Like when you're too big for your own damn good, you're too athletic for ligaments to hold up or for muscles to not tear, like, and just rip things apart because you're such a freak athlete. He's the only one I can think of in modern day NFL that is that freakish build. I mean, somebody said it the other day, I think it was Moss or somebody, like, he really is the Madden created player that we all made as a kid. As big as you could possibly get him, as fast as you could possibly get him, 100 on the truck stick, 100 on the stiff arm, and he could still juke too. I mean, it's impressive. I'm a little bit nervous.
He's an outlier.
You want to know what's funny though?
Every sense of the word.
I don't know if you've seen this or you see my. I got lucky this weekend. I got very, very lucky this weekend, and I say that as in. I had this broken hand. I thought I had put in all my picks. I had believed, like, wholeheartedly I had put all my picks in, but it was just such a chaotic week. I really didn't realize that I only got in, like, some of my picks, not all of my picks, and I didn't get in a Survivor pick at all. And I was chilling Sunday morning. Like, I had all the time in the world.
You're still in your Survivor League?
Yeah, hell yeah, because I picked the freaking Tennessee Titans, baby, because I had no choice. On Monday, I was like, I didn't get a Survivor pick in? Oh my God.
That's right. You did say that.
So I had to pick the Titans, and thank you, Derrick Henry. Thank you, Derrick Henry, in 2 of my 4 fantasy football leagues. Should have been 3. I don't know why. I got nervous. You know how you don't want to load up one player on every team just in case it, like, burns you? Did you freeze? Freeze. He'll be back. It burned. It basically... You back? No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you're back. I wasn't sure if you were just stone facing me or if you froze up.
I've been freezing.
But yeah, let's just put it that way. I got very, very lucky. But I was like, in one of my fantasy leagues, I had Derrick Henry. I have Derrick Henry in 2 of my 4 fantasy leagues, and I took Dalvin Cook in one of them. In one of them I was like, all right, I can't load up on Derrick Henry. Like, in every league I have. Like, it just, if it goes bad, then it goes bad in every league.
You gotta hedge somewhere.
Yeah, and so I took Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, so I'm sure that's going to pay off, here, especially when Dalvin Cook is nice and healthy, or he gets hurt to the point where they can just go with Madison. This is what I really want. I need one or the other. Obviously I want Dalvin Cook, but yeah, I'm kind of regretting that because Derrick Henry is the Terminator, and you can't hurt him, and he's going to hurt you and anybody you put in his way. So all I'm going to say is just good luck to whatever bodies that he puts on the list this weekend for your Chiefs. But
in his 4 years of high school football, he ran the ball 1,397 times for an average of 8.7 yards per carry. We eclipsed the 3 Derrick Henry mark. Anytime he's mentioned 3 times, it's like Beetlejuice. I will arise with a stat from his high school career, which is again his greatest high school stats. But yeah, no, he's must-see TV, I think. It's been a while since we've had a running back like that. I mean, what, AP, like in his prime? So I'm enjoying it. But I don't think you could beat Patrick Mahomes with a running back.
Do you think, how many more years of this until we start talking about greatest of all time?
Henry?
Yeah.
Of this? Man, he does like what he's doing this year.
One more.
Like,
I think
he's like,
if he has another 2,000-yard season,
like number 2 right
you
now.
you have to put him in that top 5 with the Jim Browns, the APs, the Barry Sanders. Like he has to be. If he's not there already, like give it one more season of this, and you cannot say that he's not, because if you put this 2-year stretch across anybody's 2-year stretch, I think it's the best. It's going to be the best of all time.
I mean, there's the names that come to mind with no actual statistical like things in front of me to back it up, but like Chris Johnson had some pretty ridiculous runs for a little bit. Like Larry Johnson had a 2-year period where he was loading it up.
Johnson had that
Priest
stretch
Holmes.
of Larry Johnson. Yeah, that Priest Home Larry Johnson like 5-year stretch that the Chiefs had was just outstanding. But I'm talking about like legitimate greatest of all time, because I'm not putting Chris Johnson in there. I'm not putting any of those guys in there. because he's had years after that. I'm just saying, like, this little stretch right here, I think is going to solidify him as one of the greatest running backs of all time if he's not already in that category. But I think we're in such awe right now that, like, trying to take a bird's eye view of what he's doing on the field is kind of hard in the grand scheme of things. But again, we can talk about Derrick Henry for an entire episode, an entire podcast. But I do think if they keep feeding him, that Tennessee's going to get on track. They're not going to be a contender. Their defense is terrible. The offensive line is not looking so hot. I heard Taylor Lewan's doing okay though. That was a little scary last week. And yeah, Tannehill is with Julio Jones and AJ Brown, being what they are, banged up and on the toilet. Just hasn't been the same. You would have thought that offense was going to be ultra explosive and literally, like, you don't even need wide receivers. Just feed Derrick Henry.
They lost an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They lost Dr. Smith, and I think that was a bigger effect than most had him.
Huge.
That was a big reason why I didn't think I just wasn't feeling the Tannehill heat coming into this year. And Julio Jones hasn't been a wide receiver you can depend on in like a couple of years now. So
2 or 3, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, but all that goes to say, I mean, yeah, just give your ball to your best player, and it's profoundly Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And at this point, he has a legit argument for MVP. Like, if he keeps doing this, and he's clearly that much better than any other running back in the league, I think he gets more consideration than anyone since.
The midway point.
AP win that MVP?
Yeah, he did win it that year.
Yeah.
One of the only running backs, too. And we had the MVP metric had Todd Gurley winning it a couple years back. And then I think we've been spot on with every other one. We will start releasing the MVP metric. Usually it's so skewed when it's early in the season that we wait until about week 8 to start releasing player grades and stuff like that. So those will be coming soon. Stay tuned on blitzlytics.com for the MVP metric, MVP rating, and then our player grading system. But
real quick, who would you say has more rushing yards out of Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott?
What, like this season or like overall?
No, all together, their career. They came in the same year.
Oh, I would think maybe Zeke, just because Zeke came out the gate hot and Derrick Henry Derrick Henry only had like 120 carries or something like his rookie year. Remember that? Like, it was low.
He was dealing with DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got about 260 more than him currently.
Zeke does?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't gonna last.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not.
Cowboys looking good too right now. Cowboys are looking good.
Cowboys are nice.
The Cowboys are nice. Man, Diggs. Oh my God, how is he not like just write it off? Not even defensive rookie of the year, defensive player of the year. Like, can he get? Do you think he can take both? Do you think he can take both those crowns?
I mean, if he stays on this rate, yeah, he can't carry it away, but that's not possible. He can't have 16 interceptions. That's
I'm not saying he's gonna have 16, but even if he has 10 and he has like 10. One more touchdown, like it's gonna be hard. If he leads the league in defensive touchdowns and interceptions, and I mean he is. That's the thing though. He is a kind of that high risk, high reward corner,
right?
Because he did get burned after the pick six. Freaking Mac Jones went right back after his ass with that double move, and it was right over, and it was close to being a pick too. Like one, he threaded the needle right over the top in between the safety and the and Diggs, and it looked good. I will say that.
He's got that Marcus Peters. He's got that Marcus Peters gene in him, and it's a gambling style. But yeah, you're gonna get exposed a couple of times a game, and I think as like the year goes on, that narrative will kind of be brought up more and more. Yeah, he's a game changer because of how often he creates turnovers, but just how the national media and just how Twitter likes to go, like they're going to say like, well, yeah, but he also gets burned in this percentage and his coverage grade is blah, blah, blah. I think it would hurt his defensive player of the year as long as Myles Garrett's going at this current pace he's going at. I think I saw today he's on pace for like 23 sacks, and I'm not even sure what his tackle for loss numbers are, but the man's the best in the game at a pass rusher standpoint, in my opinion. And I think it would have to be between those two in terms of defensive player of the year, personally.
Yeah, there's some guys that are killing it right now. Max Crosby's been killing it.
Yeah.
Like he's looked like a whole different beast. I think it's because the first time he's had somebody opposite of him too. Unique Ndakwe looks like a completely different animal, completely different. He doesn't even look like the same human being. I was talking to the Ravens fan Connor last night about that. Like he came in like the Ravens, he looked skinny. Like he didn't even look like the same person physically. And then from a player standpoint, it's been a big deal too. So, but
yeah, he's playing for a contract.
Yeah. They always ball out when the money's on the line. That's for sure. But in terms of we're getting to that week 8 trade deadline, and I know both of our teams are all a part of those headlines is in terms of teams that can make one or two moves to set them over the top. But I also think in terms of both of our teams, just getting healthy is going to be the biggest thing, and there hasn't been any season-ending injuries from a Bucs standpoint. I don't think any season-ending injuries from KC standpoint. I know you guys are getting healthier. You got Gay back. There's going to be some additions and people getting comfortable playing together. It's going to get better. Do you think that there is any moves that the Chiefs make or the Bucs make? Like, I really don't think the Bucs are making any moves, but there's a bunch of talks. There's a bunch of rumors. Could you see them going after somebody? I think possibly defensive line, just because Clark hasn't been there. Hasn't been stable. Jones has missed a couple games now. And without a pass rush, the secondary, no matter how good it's going to be, is going to get exposed.
No, for sure. And as far as pass rush goes, I mean, reportedly we were very in on Whitney Merciless this week whenever he was cut, which I thought would have been a great addition. He ended up going to Green Bay, but there reportedly was some high interest there, so I wouldn't be shocked if that was a position that they continue to go after. They signed Shalik Cahoon from Michigan State.
Yeah, he was with the Raiders for
Lions for a bit. Yeah, Raiders. So I mean, they're addressing it. So they're still trying to get him going. And Chris Jones is coming back, but it sounds like they're going to put him back at defensive tackle, where honestly he belongs.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If there is any trade candidates from a defensive end standpoint, I would probably say it's going to be like Emmanuel Ogbah out of Miami, because he came from Kansas City. So there wouldn't be too much of a transition period as if you were picking up someone completely new. So if they were going a defensive end route, I would probably push my chips a little bit towards Ogbah. But if I'm just saying if they're trading for anyone, I'm keeping my eye out for Marlon Mack. He's been kind of floated around out there, and we'll see. Daryl Williams did well in fantasy, but he still averaged less than 3 yards per carry. He's not a good running back. It's just how it is. But the team seems to like him. Jerick McKinnon hasn't been getting many touches, but I'm just of the opinion that based on what you've seen with Clyde so far, and he's coming back in the next few weeks, but there isn't going to be much more opportunity to upgrade the running back position for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the best candidate at that position is Marlon Mack. So I think they're going to give them another run this week. I wouldn't even be surprised if they gave Derek Gore and Jerick McKinnon a little bit of love, or more love than they did last week, just to see what they got at the position itself. But I'm done with Daryl Williams. I've been done with Daryl Williams for multiple seasons now. So that's who I would go after if I'm Brad Veach, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it is going to be a kind of a lackluster trade deadline.
Yeah, the people don't have money. It's just the whole thing with what happened this season with the salary cap being cut down. Anybody thinking the whole Marcus May to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with what money? Right. They already had to pull money out of their ass in multiple ways just to bring in Richard Sherman. Now, Sean Murphy-Bunting had the dislocated elbow. He's been out. Carlton Davis, our best corner, had I think quad injury or quad, and then Sherman has a hammy injury. So in a few weeks, when we get all of them back with Antoine Winfield Jr., who Mike Edwards has stepped up and has been we have had for 2 years now. We have had 3 starting caliber safeties, so I'm not too worried about it. And then what is gonna happen? Like, is Chicago going to outgun us this week? Like, you don't think Tom Brady's gonna get revenge for this right here? Come on, look. He's gonna get revenge. He's gonna get revenge.
Oh, when he thought it was a fourth down.
Fourth down. No, fourth down. No, fourth down.
Yeah, he would be the psychopath to use that as motivation.
He is a psychopath.
He is. He needs to be stopped.
Never.
But no, I feel you. And again, y'all's whole theme going into this year was go for 2. Like, y'all are running it back with the same team, and I think just from a continuity standpoint, y'all like what y'all got, and it's more so just about let's get healthy, get through this storm, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, so, that's like the whole Rojo trade scenario. That's not gonna happen either. Yeah, like, Rojo is a good, with the ball in his hand, he's a great running back. He's just god awful if you try to throw to him or if you ask him to block. It's just bad. But he's still, especially if you have fresh legs like that come late in the season, just like how they did with Leonard Fournette last year, it's going to be a difference maker. It's going to be a game changer. And what are you going to get for a running back who has never broke 1,000 yards, who has looked good in spurts, but is definitely not a 3-down back? He's a 2-down back at best. He's an in-between the tackles runner for the most part. He's not an outside guy. He's very limited. So you're not going to get a second-round pick like you spent on him. You're not going to get a third-round pick. It's going to be like a 4 or a 5. It's not worth it. Keep him. Let him walk next year. Don't give him any money. He's not worth it. He's not trash. He's just... Y'all are just aren't in a position to sell. Why would y'all sell?
Yeah. Y'all are going all in again this year.
I
don't see it happening.
It's headline chasing, or really just NFL media is just garbage, which I think is...
Twitter, it's gross these days. Speaking of perfect segue,
Twitter.
It's bad. It's getting worse. But with that, something that could really spice up this trade deadline and really go from lackluster to blockbuster. Wow, that was nice.
I like Desean Watson. Lackluster to blockbuster.
Desean Watson has had his rumors starting to pop up again. And the media has taken upon themselves to turn it into a complete shit on Tua fest. Now, instead of just being okay, there might be a third, the latest thing I've seen was it was a 3-team trade between the Texans, Dolphins, and Washington. And there'd be a myriad of picks going, I guess, to the Texans. And then Miami would get Deshaun, and then Washington would get Tua. And then then Twitter took it upon themselves to start listing out all the teams that reportedly have came out and said they are not interested in Tua, and that they don't want anything to do with him, and that it just seems shiesty. It seems
they were doing
toxic and gross, and just a byproduct of what Twitter's become these days. Well, they're just taking the time to shit
that's
on
literally Tua. That's literally like any fantasy football trade. You're gonna try and talk down the guys you're getting and be like, they're not that good, and then you get Tua on the cheap, and you possibly have a quarterback for the next 10 years. I still believe in Tua. I'm not against he's had some injuries. Let's just be honest. He's had
legit injuries.
And so what do you do with that? You can't. He's looked good. In games, no, he's not putting up 350-yard passing games, but he also plays for the Miami Dolphins. And that offense isn't very good. They've got pieces. They have I think a god-awful offensive line.
Yeah, but I mean, they're putting resources towards the offense. I mean,
They are.
this year they drafted Waddle, they picked up Fuller, they traded up for Eichenberg. Like they're doing things to help him out. But just what kind of ceiling does Tua get you? Like, is he's just a bus driver essentially? But I think there's value in that, just not as a franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years, like most would expect when you're a top 5 pick.
If I had to put money on it, that's what I think Tua is. I think Tua is a high end, like you said, bus driver, game manager. Like what we seen last night with like a Case Keenum. Case Keenum is never gonna be the guy. I hate to like fucking quote Joe Buck,
but he's a backup.
But yeah, no, he's not gonna be the guy who loses you the game. But he likely won't be the guy who wins it for you either. And I think that's Tua. If you have a good defense like Miami should have, I mean, when you have two of the best cornerbacks in the league, I don't know how you're not, doing better locking down, and slowing down quarterbacks, and they really haven't done a great job of that. That team could be good. That team should be good, but yeah, maybe Tua is going to limit you in the long haul if you want to go get Desean Watson. If you are definitely upgrading from getting Desean Watson.
Right.
But is Desean Watson even going to be there? We don't know. I don't think he gets traded. I don't think it happens. I think Desean Watson sits out this entire year until any of this legal situation gets handled, more so because I think the Texans are idiots and they don't know how to deal with this. They don't know how to manage it. They think they're going to get more and that there's not going to be any stipulations or any compensatory picks in this. It has to be, if Desean Watson doesn't get in trouble, here's what you get. If Desean Watson does get in trouble and he misses X amount of games, then you get this. And I mean, that's exactly how
you think it changes based on what punishment he comes out with?
Well, it's a Carson Wentz thing. If he played the whole season, or if he plays 80% of the snaps, whatever it was, then it was worth a first rounder. If not, it's a second. It has to be there has to be some type of language in there, and I don't think the Texans are comfortable. But also, if you don't pull that trigger now, and Desean Watson does get in trouble and gets suspended for that's the thing. He hasn't even had any. He's not suspended. He's not on the commissioner's exempt list. So what happens? What happens if all of this comes out and he does get in trouble? Then they do have to suspend his ass. How does that work?
I mean,
the NFL isn't gonna say, "Oh, well, you got punished this year because you didn't play a snap." No, the only reason why you didn't play a snap is because you had a falling out with the Houston Texans, and then this was, in addition to the fallout with the Texans. You have 20 or 30 something freaking people, against you and claiming sexual harassment at the very least.
But what if that comes out to be an extortion case?
I think part of it is definitely
that's the latest of the case that we know of. At least the FBI has started looking into the girls for extortion.
Yes, at least a portion of it.
What if this becomes Tyreek Hill?
I know. Well, it's so good. I mean, shit. We see woman beaters in the NFL, playing the very next freaking week after getting arrested, and nothing happens. It
has happened.
Gruden sends some awful emails, awful emails, that I can't get behind. 10 years ago, and he's gone. But you can beat the shit out of your wife, and you can be an awful human being and have potential sexual harassment cases on you, and still be playing, the same freaking week. That irritates the living out of me. But I'm not.
Well, I don't know if this league is that anymore. I think they're hypersensitive to the corporate dollars that they're receiving, and cancel culture is. I think cancel culture. The NFL is the first place that cancel culture really worked. It looks like, and as swiftly as it did.
Hasn't worked for Netflix. Another thing.
I think that's all marketing. I think that's all just to get people to talk about it. But besides that, apparently the House of Oversight Committees have started looking into the NFL's Like the government is now looking into the documents that the NFL has seized from the Dan Snyder investigation, which got John Gruden in trouble because it seemed malicious in the sense of like, why is John Gruden involved in this? So like, all right, well now y'all messed up. Now what else do you have?
Nothing
like,
about
now,
Jay Gruden. Yeah, and you see how they did that?
So now,
they did
now
that news dump.
About to come out.
Yeah, on Friday they just slipped that shit right on into the news cycle, the Friday news dump, and nobody's talking about it. That in 635,000 other emails, nobody else said anything inappropriate. I call bullshit.
It's because he called him an anti-football pussy, and that came out, and he's like, nope, he's gone.
Yeah.
Goodell does not play. Like, I used to despise the man. Now I can't help but absolutely respect him because of the iron fist he runs.
I don't know. I mean,
dude, runs
I definitely respect him less. I respect him less for taking that. I think that's what it is. Goodell was like, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Oh, you're going to talk about me?
Oh,
I'm going to go get you now. Which I think is, it's not good for business to be like that. Don't take it personal.
No, it's not. And it sounds like it's about to get real.
Yeah, the homophobic comments and the transphobic comments, they got no place in today's era. Like, you can't have that shit. But it was 10 years ago. It sucks, man. It sucks because Gruden is the reason why we got credentialed in the NFL. Gruden was so nice to me. I was on a first-name fucking basis with that man. Like, that kills me. It does. It literally kills me. But the Raiders are looking good without him. Derek Carr's looking damn good without him. It might have been his best game. Might have been his best game yet. I mean, in terms of, like, it really looked like Carr it looked like Carr's offense for the first time ever, you know? And so I think, you know, realistically, it does look like Carr is actually running that offense now. And that could be a potential for disaster, or it could be a potential for a nice little playoff run.
I think he's the same old. He's going to have his splashes.
He's number 2 in the NFL right now in passing yards behind the greatest of all time. Give him a little bit of credit. Give him a little bit of
good. He does great at splash games and bad defenses, but he struggles when the pass rush comes pretty consistently, and he doesn't like it.
And the pass rush has not been there this year at all, because even with a half-ass offensive line, they have literally protected him almost the entire step of the way. And I wouldn't expect your Chiefs to be getting much of a pass rush against him in the next couple weeks when y'all play him, unless you do make a trade at that deadline. But that's different.
Yes, yeah.
Different thing. Did you get to watch much of the Thursday night amazing matchup that was the Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns? The talentless Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I watched it, but I was I begrudgingly watched it.
You're saying talentless, or they're injured?
Injured, yeah, talentless in terms of being super injured. Okay. But then you have D'Ernest Johnson, AAF legend, coming out and balling. And I stared at him on the waiver wire this week, and I was like, yeah. Not realizing how banged up. I mean, I knew this, but it just wasn't clicking. How banged up Denver Broncos linebacking core was. Literally, Josie Jewell. I mean, they have two guys out with torn pecs. They're done for this. 5 linebackers on IR right now. 5. That's not good. They couldn't tackle for shit. It looked like Derrick Henry was out there. They couldn't tackle to save their lives last night. It was embarrassing. I say that because my brother is one of my brothers is a Broncos fan, so I like to talk some shit. But
for sure, squeezing any Broncos shit talking when you can. I love it. Don't worry.
Oh yes. But yeah, it was just downright ugly. It was not good for Denver. I do think that poor Vic Fangio had this team looking good before injuries just took over, and I think his career as a head coach is definitely in jeopardy.
Perfect. Thank you for mentioning that, because that was going to be my next question. Is he the first coach fired?
No. You can't blame. You cannot blame. They started off good. You cannot blame Vic Fangio for this. But at the end of the day,
whose fault is it in Denver? Because somebody's head's gonna roll.
Well, when did there? Yeah. Well, I think he'll be the one that takes the blame, because the new GM, he didn't hire him. It's not his guy. That was Elway's guy, and I think Vic Fangio is that Todd Bowles type. Amazing defensive coordinator. Not a good head coach. Like, that's why you see special teams coordinator. You see, there's a couple special teams coordinators in the NFL right now that are head coaches, and they're doing a damn good job at it because they're not specialists. They
get guys ready.
Yeah, they get guys
That's all
ready.
it takes.
Yeah, exactly. They are managers of a team. They are not a coordinator or a specialist. I think that is the biggest difference when you look at head coaches. If somebody is a specialist, offensive coordinator specialist, like maybe Kyle Shanahan is one of those few that transition better or transition okay, but you can go back to like the Josh McDaniels, all these guys who are so good at coordinating, like they need to keep their head in the playbook and keep their head on what they do best and not try to oversee an entire team. So, yeah, Fangio's fired, but I don't think he's going to be the first one fired.
I think he's got to lead it at this point. I don't know.
Who else is on the hot seat right now? I mean, I think DC, MCDC, Mr. Dan Campbell has at least bought himself a little bit of
Right.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else is really going to be on the hot seat this year. Urban Meyer should be gone. Urban Meyer should probably be the first one fired. I know he got his first win, but he should definitely be the first one to get fired.
Urban, Sirianni. How do you feel about Sirianni?
Meh.
Do you think he's got a chance to get fired?
Yeah.
It looks like the latest odds that I'm seeing, this was a week ago. Urban Meyer is plus 100. Nagy's 250. I think Nagy's gone after this year. Judge at plus 400. I think injuries have been screwing them.
Yeah. Judge ain't going anywhere. Daniel Jones.
And Fangio, for sure. He's plus 900, but I'm sure that's gone up. Mike Zimmer plus 1,200. I could see Zimmer being gone as well. Him and Fangio seem to be like the exact same person. And the one that I'm actually looking at right now is Brian Flores. I really like Brian Flores as a coach, especially like going into this year. But there's a lot of smoke coming out of Miami right now. It's just. That it was plus 800, 1,800 last week. Like, those are really good odds to me. But out of all these guys, I mean, Fangio or Zimmer seem like the pick for me.
Let's not forget how bad the Dolphins were just like 2 years ago before Flores got there.
Yeah. And then
you gotta give him some time. And I do think Flores is a hell of a coach.
I like Flores.
I just don't like the. I want to know how much control over the roster he really has.
Yeah.
And. Damn, look at it now. Got to be kicking yourself in the ass looking at Justin Herbert versus Tua.
Oh.
I would have got that one.
Yeah, imagine
I was not on the Herbert
got
train.
Fields. Imagine if they would have got Fields instead of Surtain. I think Fangio would have a few.
Oh, are you talking about the Bears?
I'm talking about the Broncos. How they passed on Fields
Broncos.
or Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, but I mean, has Fields looked that impressive?
I think he buys you a year or two.
Yeah, just because it's an unproven rookie, but Surtain is the better player. Surtain is better at his position than Justin Fields is. Anybody that thinks otherwise can, fill in the blank. But
interesting.
He is.
I don't know.
Should they have taken Josh Allen over Bradley Chubb a few years ago? In hindsight, yeah. Yes, they should have. I called that, and I love Bradley Chubb, but Bradley Chubb has not been healthy.
He's
been hurt back to back to back to back. And the one year he wasn't hurt, Von Miller was hurt. So they have never been able to put that together. And it's that one bugs me. But yeah, Von Miller isn't looking the same either. I mean, I think he's hit
I bet if you ask a Broncos fan, they would much rather have Justin Fields and Patrick Surtain right now. Just because the quarterback, like watching Teddy Bridgewater is like watching Tua play quarterback, and it's just not an inspiring sight. And I'm interested to see what they do after this year. I mean, they've always been trying to go after Rodgers,
but there's not. Yeah, that is going to be one. I think Rodgers to Denver is probably the most likely scenario this offseason for anywhere, because I don't know if Carr,
I think that's why they
Carr
didn't
keeps
draft
if Carr keeps this up. Well, there's not going to be I don't think the quarterback class this year is anything. Like Matt Corral is okay. He's not. I haven't broken down the film yet. I've just watched a little bit of it. He's impressive. He's a good. He can run the ball, but like, let's be real. Like what he's doing it against. It's not. He can't do what he's doing right now in the NFL. That ain't gonna happen. So, and if he's the clear-cut favorite, then don't draft a quarterback this year. Just don't. Like, I think Mitchell Trubisky and Aaron Rodgers are going to be the hot commodities this offseason at the quarterback position. And, I mean, look at how bad every quarterback's looked with Matt Nagy. So now you have to be like, all right, well then, really wasn't Mitchell Trubisky? So you go grab Mitchell Trubisky and a rookie quarterback or something along those lines. Like, get a little bit of competition, but Teddy B is not it. It's sad, but Teddy B is just... I was watching that last night going, thank God we got Tom Brady, because Teddy B would have been the Bucs quarterback right now.
Oh,
yeah. That's how they had it. They had it Tom Brady, Teddy B, Jameis Winston. That was Bruce Arians and Jason Light's order of importance. So, Futa.
Yeah. What a different world that would have been, eh?
Oh, I know, man. Definitely wouldn't be. I definitely wouldn't be sitting here right now having the same conversation.
What a world that would have been.
We shall see. All right. We got some matchups this week. Is there any in particular that you are looking forward to, sir?
Let me pull it up just to make sure I didn't miss any of them. Obviously, I'm looking forward to just another wonderful week of Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback. But besides that, I would say...
A lot of bye weeks this week.
Yeah. And fantasy teams around the nation
are one good game
struggling due to it.
There's one good game.
I was thinking that earlier. I was like, there's just not that much intrigue across the board.
It is trash. Titans and Chiefs, that's going to be the only
that's
thing.
That's your number one game?
Yeah. Well, you got Washington and Packers. Packers going to win that one. Bengals at Ravens. I think
should be pretty decent.
Bengals at Ravens should be a decent one, I think. I think because it's just going to be a divisional matchup, the Bengals will give them a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, that's the game of the week for me.
Taking your your Chiefs did lose to the Ravens, so not to rub it in, but do you really think that the Ravens are the number one team in the AFC right now? Are they the scariest team just because of how freaking amazing Lamar Jackson has looked?
Yeah, he's doing nice. And they're getting Rashad Bateman, too.
Dude, I'm scared. As a Bucs fan, that's a team I don't want to see in the playoffs. Or see in the Super Bowl. I would much rather...
And arguably, there isn't a team that's been strict with more injuries.
They're number two.
Their team...
It's number one is Detroit in terms of IR. Detroit's number one. Haven't won a game yet. And yet, the Ravens are number two, and they've handled it better than anybody else. Now they lost Ronnie Stanley. That is a huge blow. But it hasn't really mattered anyways because their offensive line has been kind of terrible to begin with, and Lamar Jackson still does Lamar Jackson things.
Yeah. I mean, he's the man. And I special teams coach, man. He's just getting everyone ready. Everyone, next man up. We're going to lose 17 people to IR. Next guy up. That's pretty much all there is. And I would say, yeah. I mean, it's between them and the Bills. And Bills are just much healthier, and they're rolling right now, and things are looking good. But yeah, I'd probably say Bills for now, just because of how decimated the Ravens are.
Yeah.
And I just can't get behind a running game led by Latavius Murray and Devontae Freeman, and apparently Tyson Williams is no longer going to be a thing in that backfield, which doesn't make any sense to me because he per touch basis is their best option, but maybe
Latavius has looked solid. He's going to be, I don't know if he's going to play this week. He got hurt second half.
He has ankle issue.
Yeah, and then Freeman stepped in. If you watch like that, there was a little bit of burst, especially on that play to the left side. He's got some juice. I didn't think so. Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell does not even look like, not that he I really haven't broke down the film, but just looking at him, he looks small.
Yeah, looks skinty.
He looks undersized as compared to what we've seen in the past. Like,
I think he's just trying to get as much speed back as he can.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't have the burst that he used to, so he can't play at the body. He had burst though.
Yeah.
He would get through he would wait and then find the hole and then get 6 to 8 yards. It was madness.
I think those three running backs with the threat of Lamar Jackson are enough for a solid run game for the Ravens. Now, the loss of Stanley is going to have, I think, as much or more of an impact than the loss of J.K. Dobbins or the loss of every other running back that they lost, earlier this year.
Yeah, I can see that. So, I mean, Stanley's one of the best in his position when healthy.
And they could be a team. They could be a team. If I'm the Ravens, I'm going to be ultra aggressive right now at the trade deadline. You still have Lamar on a rookie contract. You can move some stuff around. You can make money things happen on that with that salary cap, and they can pull some people in. Whether it is any of these cornerbacks that are being thrown out there, whether it is I don't think they're not going to go after a safety. They don't necessarily need that in Marcus May, but the Marlon Mack that could be a boomer. I don't think they need it. But
no, and I think they're proving that they're fine getting trash off the streets and just plugging them in.
Yeah. But again, we'll see without Stanley the entire season what it's going to look like. That could be the final straw, because we've been wondering how many injuries is it going to take before this team starts to fall apart. That one could be the one. That really could. I think Stanley's the most important player not named Lamar Jackson on that team.
He's up there, that's for sure.
But they draft so freaking well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can't sleep on that front office ever. They're just really good at what they do. And, out of nowhere, they'll trade for Calais Campbell for a 6th-rounder. And it's like, what? How is this happening? But, I'll keep an eye out for them in terms of just how they perform going forward. Because, I agree. Ronnie Stanley, he's a pretty key component to their whole operation. So we'll see.
That we will. Antonio Brown ruled out. Won't suit up against the Bears, along with Gronk, Levante David, and Richard Sherman.
And y'all are playing the Bears? Oh, man, if Justin Fields beats y'all.
With what? Okay, we don't have anybody in the secondary minus, Jamal Dean. Or we have Jamal Dean, and then we have two basically, scrubs at cornerback. No, it's about scrubs. Cockrell is
Allen Robinson breaking game. It's coming.
You think so? I think Mooney isn't that good. I think Allen Robinson is an amazing, one of the best wide receivers in the game, and yet they still don't even know how to use him. So I'm not too worried about it. Justin Fields can't throw the ball very well. Those wide receivers aren't doing a whole heck of a lot. So this is a good matchup for us. And without Levante David, we'd be okay. We will be just fine, because Devin White now is just eating up all those tackles that Levante David was stealing from him. So defensive line, healthy as can be.
I was going to ask.
Linebackers are good. I think we'll be just fine. Without Gronk, OJ stepped up last week. I think expect another big game. I might have to go snag OJ now for my tight end spot. Dawson Knox is on a bye week out. I am screwed. Can I pull this up for you real quick before we hop off?
Please.
Because I'll show the fans the listeners, the viewers, exactly what I got going on here. But it is not looking good for me, and I don't know what to do.
I don't even want to talk about fantasy. It's looking bad.
Is it?
I couldn't be more stricken by injuries this year, but it's fine. It's fine. I just traded away Antonio Brown. I was about to get got by that. So yeah.
All right. So two of my teams are bye week just tore up.
How it goes.
So here is one. I don't know if it's even gonna be able to see it. There's one of my benches. So Diggs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Robinson, Thielen, Claypool, Zach Moss, and Dawson Knox are on a bye week. And then if I come up to here, I got two. I don't know who to drop because I need a wide receiver and a tight end. Come on. Get it right. I need a wide receiver and a tight end. There we go. Yeah, our team is stacked. This team is freaking stacked, son. Like I'm looking good. You know, we're gonna be okay. But I don't know.
Probably,
I think I'm gonna go.
Probably Moss.
I'm gonna have to. I can't drop Moss. He's double digits every week. I gotta drop Latavius Murray. He's not gonna play this week. I'm not gonna be able to use him. He's never gonna get a start in any. But he's gonna literally if I drop Latavius Murray next week, he's starting on somebody else's team. But then do I drop Dawson Knox, or do I just roll with no tight end this week? I think I'm gonna roll with no tight end this week.
That the rest of your team is good enough to beat his team.
So right now
he's got to be similarly.
I have two. I only have. He's got 8 players yet to go. He's got me by 6 points, but we're projected exactly the same right now. While I have 2 guys not even in play yet, so I still have two.
Who's your defense?
I think it was the Colts this week.
They're
Colts at San
49ers.
Francisco. I might need to switch that up.
I was about to say you could just drop your defense and pick up a running back or tight end there, and just say who's going to get the most points.
It's true. I did not pay attention to that on. Yeah, I might have. That's not a bad idea. I might have to do that because there's no defenses left on the waiver.
Right.
Yeah, that's not good. And then one more though, because I just want to show how bad I messed up the structure of this team in terms of bye weeks.
It's only 1 week though. I've never really put too much consideration into bye weeks for fantasy drafting.
Look at that. The entire bench. Those are all my starters. I'm fucked.
Because you got 3 Vikings on there.
It's true. But it's paid off so far.
Yeah.
Nobody's been willing. Everybody needs a wide receiver. Nobody's willing to pay for one. Don't know what to tell them. But yeah, so literally that one, I'm just chalking it up. I have two backup running backs in, and Khalil Herbert against the Bucks. Sony Michel maybe will get some playing time in the fourth quarter because I think the Rams are gonna blow him out. So that's all I'm hoping on. And then Stevenson for the Patriots is my other running. It's bad, bro. This week is not a good week in fantasy for me. But. Yeah,
my flexes I had to choose between last night was Jarvis Landry, Tyson Williams, Van Jefferson, or there was one more, just bad one. Yeah, it's rough over here.
Yeah.
Jerick McKinnon. Yeah, it's been a bad one.
But
I just keep losing players, but we're on to big and better things. This week will be a good one for us. Hopefully these teams overachieve and create some good games for us. I mean, overall, so far this season, I feel like every week, every Sunday has been loaded with just good quality football.
Yeah.
So maybe we're due for a bad week. Who knows?
Very true.
Very true. But hopefully that provides some really good fantasy output for most of these teams. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a good fantasy week.
We'll see. Yeah. You never know. Just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. But we both got to get on out of here. So let's wrap this on up. Thank you for tuning in to the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzlytics.com, where scouting meets analytics. You meet the newest crop of off-field talent. Also, big shout out to our sponsors, Key City Brewing, Drink, Rebel, Pete. I'm Jack Bourgeois. That is Ashton Moore. Blitz out.
Go Stros.
Yeah, fuck the Dodgers.